Boop-a-doop-boo. Regenerating cash.
If you're like me, and you got no life and there's nowhere to go, then tune in to the animation Truman Show. You'll be glad you did. If you're like me, and you got no life...
Okay, so obviously we shouldn't let this play twice, but YouTube was acting silly and I wasn't sure if it was actually working. So, here we are. Okay, so here's the deal. Yesterday we talked about some of the difficulties you run into working on a live project, and one of the things that was discussed had to do with creating a show recap. Well, you know what? There's this old saying in software that your program never survives its first contact with the public, and this is kind of the same way. Turns out, once I actually sat down and broke down what it would take to create this recap, I realized that it doesn't do me any good at all to have the video and the audio and the sound effects sync together. It's completely irrelevant, because to take a longer episode and turn it into a recap requires really a complete rearranging of the it's an interesting exercise. I would encourage anyone to do it. Record a copy of your favorite anime or something, or show, and then try to create like a 30-second recap that says, okay, so here's what happened, like on the last episode kind of thing, right? It is an interesting exercise. But anyway, what you find is everything's completely rearranged, because what you're really doing is you're crafting a little, in this case, about a 20-second story that summarizes the sort of the emotional thrust, of the entire episode. And so the first thing in this case, for example, you have to cut it down, cut. So like, we're going to start with, hey, Awkward Penguin. So
Melchizedek.
So we'll hear this over black. So you got a black screen.
Melchizedek. It's time you finally learn the truth.
Okay, so that's what we're going to start with. And so we'll see Asher saying part of his line like it was in the show. But when we get to the end of the line, we'll actually cut to Melchizedek hearing it. And then there will probably be like a flash transition. And then it'll go to the narrative of what happened in the episode. So the first thing we have to do is we have to actually start taking words out. Okay, so like
Melchizedek.
Cut that. Bring that together.
Melchizedek. It's time you finally learn the truth.
Okay, so we got to take the word finally out, because we can't have that in there. We have to cut down every single word that isn't absolutely necessary. We'll see how that flows.
Time you learn the truth.
Almost got it. Get a little bit more crossfade there.
Time you learn the truth.
Ah, not quite.
Time you learn the truth.
Let me listen to this.
Time you learn the...
Okay, we're catching the end of the word finally.
Learn the truth.
Okay, I see. I actually had let too much go.
Learn the truth.
There we go. Perfect. So it's...
Time you learn the truth.
Yep, and that's still got a little bit of a jolt to it. That's common. If you listen to some of the gosh, if you're lucky enough to have some of the old, in the 90s when Disney, every time they would release a movie, they would have these previews and stuff. Like, for example, when The Little Mermaid came out, you'd get a preview for Beauty and the Beast. And if you paid attention, you could see how much really choppy editing actually snuck into those previews.
It's Melchizedek.
And by the way, another thing we can do here is this could be sped up.
Melchizedek.
Okay, and obviously that sounds bad, but we can fix that. I think we can fix that anyway. The properties, elastic, we want this to be speech. So it's a time stretching that's optimized for speech.
Melchizedek. It's time.
See there? That worked. So we've got a lot of room to tighten this up.
Melchizedek. It's time you learn.
Okay, and this could be done the same way. I should say that what I should do right now while I'm thinking about it is take the entire soundtrack and change the pitch shifting to speech so that when I cut it into pieces, this setting will already be set, because I know there's going to be some time stretching going on. So I don't know, this might be completely boring to you guys. To me, it's really interesting and a lot of fun, because you're really trying to, well, the thing is, number one, you've got to see Melchizedek, even though most of the summary is about the sort of the backstory that got covered in webisode 1. So how do you do that? You know, it's got to be about the idea that, you know, that Asher's telling Melchizedek the truth, you know, and then the whole story is over in about 15 seconds, you know.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. It's time you learn the truth.
Okay, and again, let's look the other way on the choppiness of it, because once there's music under it, it's probably going to be okay.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn.
Okay, and actually,
It's time.
so that's it.
It's time you learn the.
Okay, and we lost the T there a little bit. Let me see where the T is.
It's time you.
Yeah, boy, that's going to be a tricky one.
It's time you.
I'm going to slide that over. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and take this back out and redo that.
It's time you.
And that, again, needs to be speech.
It's time you finally learn.
Okay, so finally definitely can come out. And so, and it's best to do this stuff in passes. Right? You know, do it, let it be choppy, don't worry about it, just get the pieces in there, and then go back and do another pass where you start tightening it up and making it sound good.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth.
Okay, we'll go with that for the moment. There's a little bit of a...
You learn the truth.
Yeah, there's definitely a little hiccup there, but that's okay. We'll go with it. Time you learn the truth. Yeah. Okay. So and again, the visuals that will be over top of this, other than this one little section where Asher's talking, other than that, the visuals will not be the same visuals that were on it in the show. So, you know, this is a whole different sort of little bit of storytelling.
For many years, our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed.
Okay, so I wanted to say,
Our beautiful land of Newsy.
I want to take beautiful out.
Our land of Newsy enjoyed peace. Our land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity.
Okay, and so here, let's see what we can do with this.
Our land of Newsy.
Yeah, we definitely have some.
Our land of Newsy enjoyed.
And I'm going to tighten that up, and now I got to look at what we have on the... Yep, that's correct.
Enjoyed.
And we'll just speed this up a little bit and see if we can...
Our land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity.
Okay, that's too much. We're speeding things up too much. But it actually flowed pretty well, so that's good. It looks like we can get about a 10% push out of it here.
Enjoyed peace and prosperity.
And if we can tighten it up like by just cutting and crossfading without actually time stretching it, that's obviously preferred.
Enjoyed peace and prosperity.
See, that all sounds great together.
Our land of Newsy enjoyed peace.
And that, again, feels like too much of a stretch for me. And now I'm going to hit Control L, which does auto rippling for me.
Land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity.
Okay, and then... So there's a line where he says that Golek convinced Vespigi to usurp the throne. So that's what I'm looking for.
Until the king and queen were stricken by a mysterious
So this is all skipped.
illness.
Here, take this medicine, my lord.
And this is going to be quite a ways forward.
The king...
And by the way, it's also a good idea with something like this to just make a copy of the audio, because what happens is you chop it down and then remember that you needed something from earlier, and it's useful to be able to get to the original. And it's not a bad idea to actually just open it in the trimmer. So if you need to pull something out of the trimmer, you could do it that way as well. In fact, that's probably the better idea, instead of keeping an extra copy laying around. Okay.
Perhaps it will help.
That is useless.
But that's terrible.
Indeed.
That's terrible.
I am going to keep That's Terrible around. I might want a reaction shot with Melchizidek. So if we're going to do that, then let's just pull this down here. For the moment, we'll just kind of use 2 tracks and bounce between them. So thank you, Awkward Penguin. That's very nice.
Indeed. It was a mess.
So, and I'll keep a copy of this as well, just because those two go together, but I'm sure that's going to make it too long. So again, we've got this music here that I wrote yesterday. So this is what I'm going to put on it. So you're going to see a title on the screen, Last Time on Salt and Light. Then you're just going to hear this music underneath it. And for the record, I do reserve the right to change my mind and, put different music. But actually, if we put the music under it, see what that feels like.
Melchizedek, it's time you learned the truth. Our land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity.
Okay, so this is definitely stretched too much.
Our beautiful...
I wonder if we stuck the beautiful back in there for the moment.
Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity.
Okay. So you see that? We're already 10 seconds into it. So yeah, this has to be really, really, really crunch tight.
That's terrible.
Indeed. It was.
Okay, so, and of course we could always extend it a little bit, but when you're dealing with a 4-minute webisode, it seems excessive to have more than about 20 seconds of recap, right? But I think at the same time it's useful to have it in there to, because some people might see webisode 2 who never saw number 1, they're going to want to go back and watch it or
The
whatever.
king did not long survive.
Okay, is that in there? No, that does not go in there, so that's out.
Valner, the elder, would assume the throne with his brother, but Golek, the high priest, had plans of his own.
Okay, and I'm going to keep this line around just in case as well. So I'm
But
leaving
Golek-
myself some, a little bit of creative license to sort of change my mind on things.
Golek, the high priest, had plans of his own.
Okay, there we go. So we'll just take those two, smack them up there in case we need them, and then back to work. Okay, so the line we're looking for is Golek convinced Vespigi to usurp the throne.
Are you talking about Golek?
Yes, of course.
So that doesn't go in there. I guess I'll do it down here so I'm not listening to the music right now.
You look younger then.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Asher.
Well, well. Well, well. Speak, holy man.
Is
Oh, okay, so this line definitely goes in. We're going to be using that line. So we'll slide that down here. I think that's the next one I need after I get the one I'm looking for right now. So hopefully this isn't too... Hey, Sifter.
heed my...
Okay, so that's all the stuff that happens in the throne room.
I have only this to...
And that is not going to be in there.
That is all.
That is definitely not going to be in there.
What does this mean?
Where is it, Ash?
The land was struck with a merciless famine.
Oh, okay. Okay, actually, here we go.
The land was struck with a merciless famine.
Okay, so we've got a line of Golek saying this is Asher's doing.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it.
Okay, so we'll take that line, and again, everything's getting rearranged in a different order to sort of tell this little concise story. So actually it's supposed to be, yes, treachery is repaid in full, followed by Golek saying this is Asher's doing.
Always repaid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it.
Okay, now we need, we're still looking for this one.
No! He's loved by the people and feeds the
Vespigi to usurp the
Ah,
throne.
here it is.
Golek convinced Vespigi to usurp the throne.
And I inadvertently just hit the wrong key. Yeah, that was silly.
But I'm a little confused at.
Golek convinced Vespigi to usurp the throne.
And that is a line that it might be, of course, it's always my prerogative to revoice these lines if I wanted to make them more dramatic for the recap or something, right? Treachery is always repaid in full. Yes, so this goes here.
And prosperity. Golek convinced Vespigi.
Okay, and this needs to be normalized because it's a little on the quiet side.
And prosperity. Golek convinced Vespigi to usurp the throne. Treachery is all.
Okay, hold on. Flip the throne. Yeah, okay, we'll keep sticking with it here. We've got this line.
Treachery is always repaid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it.
Okay, and then we've got... Yeah, Vespigi was king, but dark and terrible times lay ahead. So I think that's here at the end.
But Asher, you.
Nope.
Vespigi was king.
Yep, there it is. Okay, so that's the line we want. Split that. Move these guys all downstream. Smack these guys up yonder. And let's look roughly at what our time is. So we're not horrible. We're not horrible, but we're not quite where we want to be. That's the 30-second mark right there.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek convinced Vesp.
Okay, and I really need an until in there. So probably, I gotta say, probably I'm gonna revoice this, just because it'll sound smoother and I can pump up the intensity of the lines to be more suitable.
The throne.
I'm allowed to do that, right? Hey, Darren.
The throne. Treachery is always repaid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it.
Vespigi was king, but dark, terrible times lay ahead.
Okay, so we've got...
Terrible.
Indeed.
Okay, now that's interesting. Maybe what I should do is instead of having this line...
Vespigi was king, but dark...
Maybe since obviously Melchizedek is the focus of the story, maybe what we should do is actually end the recap by going to this.
I'm sure of it. That's terrible.
Indeed. It was a mess.
And that would be the end of the recap.
Golek had plans of his own.
Okay. So Golek had plans of his own. Do we actually have to say, let me think.
Golek convinced Vespigi to usurp. Uzi enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek convinced Vespigi to usurp the throne.
We don't know who Vespigi is at that point. So maybe it would make more sense to jump to this, because the audience will see that they know that Golek's the bad guy, right?
And prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Golek convinced Vespigi to...
Okay,
Convinced Vesp...
Okay, so... Do we want to leave the word convince in there?
Convinced Vesp...
See, this is what Disney used to do in those recaps I mentioned earlier. You'd hear these edits that really didn't make sense, especially if you knew the movie that was being previewed.
Golek had plans of his own, convinced Vespigi to usurp the throne.
See, what you'd do is you'd have a whoosh there. So he had plans of his own,
Convinced Vespigi to usurp the throne.
and it makes perfect sense if the visuals support it. Now, again, this line is probably not needed.
Vespigi to... Treachery is always...
Yes, there we go. Let's take this out. Because we know he did something bad, right? That's all we need to know. We just know the guy did something bad. So,
peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is always repaid in full.
okay, do we need the word always in there?
Treachery is always...
Let's take it out and see what happens.
Treachery is paid in full.
There you go, right?
Plans of his own.
Treachery is paid in full. And now we got it chopped
This is
down.
Asher's doing. I'm sure of it. That's terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
Not bad. Not bad. I'm wondering if you need the opening. Just start with beautiful lands. That's a fair point. I actually, I thought the same thing initially, but at this point, I gotta say, we've got our time. This is the 22nd mark basically here, right? So, and it's gonna end on silence. So, you're gonna have a black screen. Last time on
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful land of news.
And so the idea would be you'd see Asher say,
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth.
and when he's saying learn the truth, it'll actually cut to Melchizedek, so you know this guy that he's talking to, right? You want to know who this is. Okay, let's work on roughing this in now. Okay, so we don't need this stuff in there anymore. Let's bring the video in and kind of see what we have to go with. You'll have to visualize the titles. And I'm not going to... The sound effects ultimately will sew it all together quite nicely, I'm sure. But, yeah, see right there. What we should do here is we should have 2 video tracks so that we can bounce between them. So when he says learn the truth, let me find this. Okay, yeah, see, this is the line. This is the line that starts it out. I gotta keep hitting the wrong keys here. Okay, so let's grab this, throw this in here, and then we have to reline up the dialogue, obviously. This is another thing you saw in those old Disney previews is a lot of times if you paid attention, because of the adjustments they made to make it to sell the little brief story, that you're trying to tell here. You could see in a lot of cases where the dialogue didn't quite match the mouth movement and stuff. But when you have the music and the energy of that sort of recap vibe with sound effects kind of transitioning you between the different cuts, you don't really you accept it. Let's put it that way.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth.
Okay, so I'm going to just say, let's just throw in some lip sync.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn.
So it would be something like this.
It's time you learn the...
Okay, so now we got to get this shot.
It's time you learn the truth.
Okay, this would feel better if it was after he said a little bit more. So for that reason, I'm going to pop this up here. Whoops.
Melchizedek,
and see, so this will be kind of cool because you're going to come up from black, right? So last time on Salt and Light.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth.
And I definitely want to have that happen just a little bit later. Yeah, in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, originally I was not going to have Asher on that first line Melchizedek. I was actually going to have that on black. So it'd just be...
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful...
You see that? You see how that is starting to, like, this feels good. You hear the voice,
Melchizedek, it's time
and then it comes up from black. It's starting to have that movie trailer kind of feeling to it. So that works. This is, unfortunately, a little more abrupt.
You learn the truth. Our beautiful...
But let's keep working with it. Let's keep working with it. Maybe this
You
will work.
learn the truth. Our beautiful... You learn the truth. Our beautiful land of...
This is... okay, so this is interesting because this is a shot that is a kind of a fun shot.
Truth. Our beautiful land of...
But at this point in the recap, it's too staccato. It's too much of a punctuation. I don't know if that makes sense, but so I don't think that's what I want. I'm gonna go ahead and just chop it out here. And I think what I'll do up here is I'm gonna hit the tab key so I'm only selecting video. And this is a better shot. Absolutely, this is a better shot. So we'll grab this one and then let's see what we've got in terms of time.
Truth. Our beautiful land.
And I think maybe stretch this out a little bit. And then I'm also thinking maybe a slight push in to give that some drama.
The truth. Our beautiful...
Yeah, and then actually Asher should be pushing in too. That was too much of a push, by the way, this one. But the idea is right. So we can go back here. Last time on Salt and Light.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful...
Oh yeah, see, that's working. That's starting to work. We're starting to feel it, people. Am I right? Okay, so we'll keep using the trimmer. I think that's a good way to do it. Just come back to the trimmer, and we've got the whole thing in here. We're going to have... So now we need this... This is interesting. I didn't think of this until just now, but what if we took the shot of the, what if we took the shot of the monastery?
Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity.
And so that we get two shots out of this instead of one. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to look for this other shot. That's kind of a wide establishing shot. Yeah, right here. Oh yeah, right there. Okay, cool. So, can I? I'm testing to see if I can have it center on. Yeah, there we go. I just had to click it. Okay, I don't really want the money thing in there. So, let's just dissolve that together for the moment. This is going to be too long. And I don't know that that's that useful, but maybe... I don't know. I think that's a little misleading. That doesn't quite
Our
work.
beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery.
Okay, yes. I like the wide shots of the landscapes and skip the... skip the... more detailed shots, let's say, of the people. So we'll go with that.
Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek.
Okay, and now we got to get a shot of Golek. Now I like this one shot of Golek right there. Right there is a good shot. So let's grab that one. And I would say, anytime you're doing like a trailer type thing, you can do a lot more with dissolves, you know, instead of cuts.
Beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek.
Uh-oh. So this...
And prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Prosperity.
Okay, so do we have some room here? Actually... surprisingly, we might not have room to...
Prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is...
Okay, cool. Now we got to find the treachery thing. Up, I think it's right there. There it is. This was another thing you saw in those Disney previews is you get situations where they had fairly choppy cuts because in the original show, like here, it actually dissolves into the next shot. Well, I guess that is actually a cut. So, but sometimes you have to put in cuts where you really don't want to because it'll bleed over into the next shot. So this is definitely okay.
Had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in full.
Yeah, not bad. Hey, Enio-san. Okay, so last time on Salt and Light.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in full.
This is Asher's.
Okay, and this is Asher's doing. Where the heck is that? Up. I think it's here. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe we could actually have a little tiny smidgen of the famine situation there too. So let's dissolve over top of that and see what we get.
Paid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it. That's terrible.
Okay, and that's terrible, I believe, was actually back here. That's where he says this is Golek, Golek. It seems to me it was here. Yep, there it is. And that's a good shot. That's a more recent one I've done where the animation's pretty good. Okay.
That's terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
Terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
And then it would into the episode. So I think that's it, guys. So now I'm probably done here because I need to go to NBC Sports and see what's going on with the Super Bowl. I didn't really want to miss the kickoff. Is anybody watching it? Anybody know if they've had the kickoff yet? Normally Val and I like to watch the Super Bowl, but you know, with COVID, I just, you know, the Super Bowl doesn't quite feel as real as it used to be. NBC Sports, I'm sure. Oh, they're still doing pregame show. So that's on the agenda. Not sure. I'm not watching it, but Mrs. T will be watching a recording of it tomorrow night. After you know what happened. Okay.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity.
Okay, one thing I was feeling here is one of these really, really quick. Boom.
Our beautiful land of Newsy
That
enjoyed.
works.
Time you learn the truth. Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in.
Right here, methinks. And also here, do we have a push?
Golek had plans of his.
There is a push, but I think we should ramp it up a little bit.
Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in full.
In fact, I wonder if... Okay, stop. What I want to do here, I'm going to throw everything out of sync. So I'm going to hit Control-L to turn the automagical rippling back off, because I think I want to do that again here. Well, I guess the time I spent, I did a bunch of movie trailers for my film distributor a couple of years ago. They had me do like a half dozen trailers, which was quite an interesting experience because I had to take really old movies. Like, if you guys remember the old, it's kind of a family classic called Where the Red Fern Grows. And my film distributor was the global, no, I knew you were just leaving, Darren. I knew you were finishing up. No big deal. But anyway, yeah, so I had to take some movies like like the Redfern movies. And by the way, the sequel, the Redfern Grows 2, is a horrible movie. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Had Wilford Brimley in it, but I mean, it was just terrible, horrible. The acting was okay actually, but the script was so bad. It just was terrible. And so it was a real challenge to go, oh golly, how do we craft this piece of junk movie into a 1-minute trailer that's compelling, you know? I mean, and to be frank, that was my job, was to try to make it look like it was interesting.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn.
And this is how you did it.
Our
You try to
beautiful
find
land
the-
of Newsy enjoyed
You try to
peace.
find the interesting bits in the show and craft it into a tiny little short narrative that just kind of, you know,
Our
grabs.
beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it. That terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
Okay, so the music obviously ends kind of stupidly. Let's go ahead and fade it out and see if that actually kind of feels good-ish. I'm thinking I want him to say,
Is doing. I'm sure of it. That terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
boom, end. Okay, not bad. Longer than expected, but you doing a good job too on the little eyeballs you had bouncing around. So this is a successful exercise because I started this only a half an hour ago. Half an hour ago, we've got the show recap pretty much figured out.
Melchizedek, it's time
It'll take
you
another
learn
half
the
hour to
truth.
polish
Our
it a
beautiful
bit, add
land
the
of
sound
Newsy
effects, little
enjoyed
whooshes.
peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it. That terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
And then boom, we go into the current webisode. So 20 seconds. My thinking is, let me see what our time here is. Yeah, this is all too long. So we got to take, let's just slide this back to here. Hit Control-Shift-F. Boom.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn.
Okay, let's just add the title in there right now. Let me see. Let's insert a generated media. I probably should put this on another track. Let's insert a video track. Insert generated media. We're going to do legacy text. And we'll do it the old Avatar way. Previously on Salt and Light. Okay, so previously on Salt and Light. Okay, and then we need to grab the font. And I do not remember by gum what the name of my font is. That is definitely not it. I'll know it when I see it. I'm just going to kind of toggle through these. When I see it, when I recognize it, I'll know. Caxon. I got to go back here to the top and just... A lot of fonts. Up. Nope, that wasn't it. Like I said, I'll know it when I see it. Courier New. A lot of wacky fonts here. The font I found for the show really, for me, hit the sweet spot. And again, I do not remember what it was called. I could look on the show edit and figure it out. That looked like something similar to copperplate. Seems like I've used... Oh, I know what I used that for. I used that for a company that deals with ballistics. I think they make ammunition or something. Come on. I'm going to give up soon and just open the show and see. Yep. Okay. Bear with me here. A second. Sorry. Got to do it the old way. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. And we're going to go with Salt and light. I can ignore that. And what we're looking for is this. This is the credit block. And the font is Tianara. Oh, I see what I did wrong. I am an idiot. I went right past it. Okay, cool. So now this can be probably about 20. No, we want a little bigger than that. Let's do 28. Okay, that'll work. That'll work for the moment. So what we'll do is let that smack under like that.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it. That's terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
Okay, I think that'll work. Okay, so do you need an English-sounding voiceover for the previously on Salt and Light? If you want to send me something that you think might work, I'd entertain it. You know, I assume you're serious. You know, why not? It could be just text, but again, you know, on Avatar, they had a voice. Like, let me see if I can find it. What do they say? Previously on Avatar, it was this kind of a voice. So it wasn't real. It wasn't like Asher, where it was bitey. It was more of a breathy. Previously on Salt and Light, you know, kind of like that. If I did it first thing in the morning, I could really nail it. But of course, my voice is a little deeper first thing in the morning. Yeah, it was Roku. Yeah, you're right. It was Roku. But there you go. Thank you. I'd forgotten about that.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the...
Half serious, but just having the text look pretty good then.
Melchizedek, it's time you...
Well, just doing the text does have a certain feel to it. I mean, we're going to have to, if we said it previously on Salt, now we've stepped over the voice. So it probably would be better on this one to leave it as text, actually.
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it. That's terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
Not bad. We're not quite to 20 seconds, though, so don't know if I need to be that persnickety about it. The audience has no expectations or anything, but...
Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Melchizedek, it's time you learn the truth. Our beautiful land of Newsy enjoyed peace and prosperity. Golek had plans of his own. Treachery is paid in full.
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it. That's terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
Okay. I say, I would say I'm actually gonna sign off. I think that I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish here, and it's kind of cool. So I don't know if you guys learned anything, if that was useful, but I actually think possibly we could...
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it. That's terrible.
Indeed.
Yeah, you could take out I'm sure of it. So that's another possibility. You could roll this back a bit and go...
This is Asher's doing. I'm sure of it.
Yep. Take this out. Smack that back to there. And there we go. Now we just got our... we just got it under 20 seconds. Nice.
This is Asher's doing. That's terrible.
Indeed, it was a mess.
I like it. I like it. Tight is good. Okay, so there you go, guys. I thought you might enjoy that. And it's always, Animation Truman Show. You're just seeing the real thing as it happens in all of its unfettered lack of glamour. So anyway, I think we're going to be looking at the Super Bowl situation. So take care. And you guys know there will